Hey guys, it's Ronnie. It's March podcast time. I'm very excited. I like this one. I'm quite amazed at how quickly a month goes by. Like I feel like I just recorded February's podcast, so I can't believe I used to do these weekly. I don't know how I did them weekly, to be honest. It's funny how time. I think an extra kid really just one extra kid is like 10 times the work. It's absolutely insane. It's insanity. Anyway, but it's here. It's March, and I'm ready. I have 10 questions plucked. I'm gonna see how far I make it. Again, I'm not gonna cut off at 30 minutes like I used to. We're just gonna chat, have fun. My neighbor was mowing his lawn before, so we might get some background noise. I now hear an airplane flying over. So I don't have a soundproof room, but this will do. Okay, so let me get started. The first question's from Wendy. And Wendy says, congrats on your success. You are such an inspiration. I would like to know what your diet was throughout. Sorry, I thought this was going to be different questions. So now I'm all thrown off. All right, anyway, let me say. Again, I just like pluck them really fast and throw them in there. So I like to read them off the cuff and answer off the cuff versus preparing. So anyway, I would like to know what your diet was throughout the day and how you prepared your meals for busy weeks. Thanks. Okay, so Wendy. I used to share a lot more actually on the blog about what I was eating. Like I used to actually post, like food journals. Like I used to change it up all the time. Like I used to use Twitter all the time to do food journals. And then I started doing these like, HTML tables where I would share what I ate and how many points were in it and those kinds of things, which at the time was helping me kind of just tackle maintenance and be more conscious and of my choices, and also then to share ideas. Like that was a big area, a big reason why I was doing it was that I would get a lot of questions like yours where people were like, what are you eating? What do you eat? Which is one of the reasons why I really did start Greenlight Bites, which again, it's kind of more generic because you're not seeing what I eat in a whole day, but more like one of my meals in the past 2 days, was something that I posted on Greenlight Bites. But unfortunately, I didn't do that when I was losing weight. The 8 months that I lost the significant amount of weight, when I went and reached goal and all that stuff, I kept food journals on paper. And again, I should have one with me so I can show you, but I still have them. And I have chicken scratch handwriting. Like I can barely understand my own food journals, which is really, really, but it kept me accountable, and I knew what I was eating, and I knew how many points was associated with it, and really that's all that mattered. So I can kind of give you the flow of how my diet has changed, prior to weight loss, and I've said this multiple times. It's kind of like I was only ever in two states. I was in gaining mode or I was in losing mode. And this is what I'm talking about in my teens and 20s, where I was either eating everything in sight, ordering as much as I can off of a menu, eating at 3 a.m., pizzas and strombolis and cheese fries and wings, just eating all the time. Or I went into this like, okay, I'm going to lose weight mode, and I would eat nothing. Or, I would only eat certain foods or only eat vegetables or stay away from all carbs. Or, and I kind of went through these stages. When I finally lost the weight and really tackled some of my root problems, what I ate every day was honestly it was just smaller portions of pretty whole foods. I was very dependent in the beginning on things like Smart Ones and 100-calorie packs. And then I slowly, over the course of the last 7 years, learned to weed those things out. And, now I make my own. I make much more of my own food than I ever have. I haven't bought a Smart One in probably about 4 years. Not that I think that that's a goal for everyone, but it was a goal for me. So for me to tell you kind of what I ate, I think it does you a disservice. And I think it's kind of one of the things that was wrong with the diet industry is everybody wants to open up a book and go, eat this, eat this, eat this, eat this. And I think it backfires for most of us. Because our problem usually isn't what we're eating, it's more our own mental state of mind and how we look at food and how we react to food and how we use it to medicate ourselves, or when we eat when we eat when we're bored, or we eat when we're sad, we eat when we're celebrating. It's not, and a lot of us, and I'm including myself in this, because even back then, I knew what to eat. I sure have learned a lot since then, but overall, I think most human beings have a general idea of what is good for you and what is not. There's some argument whether or not you go low fat or natural or whatever, and there's, of course, some opinions out there, but overall, let's look at it logically. We know that eating, a salad with some grilled chicken breast on top, light on a dressing, just a little bit of oil and vinegar, not drenched in ranch or whatever, is a better choice than a double cheeseburger with bacon and fries and, a side of hot wings, right? I mean, we know that. The problem we almost have to figure out is how we start to choose things that fuel us, and instead of, looking to the food to bring us pleasure in a certain way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a double cheeseburger with bacon and cheese fries every now and then. And frankly, I indulge in that every now and then, but it's not an everyday occurrence anymore like it used to be. So Wendy, I'm not giving you the answer that you seek. I realize that. But I really, really want to stress that I think everyone kind of has to find their own way, and that's what would work for them. So, my diet throughout the day did change drastically. I would tell you this, I went from eating 2 to 3 very large meals a day to eating much smaller meals throughout the day. That doesn't come out right, but you know what I mean? So, when I was working full time and when I was in that weight loss mode, and even post maintenance for a few years, my diet was very much, I always ate breakfast, always ate breakfast. And I always had kind of, given different time frames, breakfast that I would put into rotation, if that's, you know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's important for us to have go-tos. And so for me, right now, I basically only have 3 breakfasts that I pick from. I either have eggs, an egg and egg white with some vegetables. Sometimes I put it on a sandwich then, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I make an omelet, sometimes I don't. But it's eggs. A smoothie where I throw banana and almond milk and spinach, and some frozen blueberries or whatever I have on hand. That might be my quick smoothie when I don't really have time to sit down with the kids and I'm more in kind of active, engaged mode. And now my new oatmeal, which I'm in love with this oatmeal, which I had today. So and then I think it takes the stress and the worry out if you have kind of these go-tos. And so back then when I was losing weight, really my go-tos was probably, I always had a bowl of, I was a big All-Bran fan. I haven't bought All-Bran in quite some time, but that was my go-to cereal. I don't really eat cereal anymore. Again, I just got out of that habit. I think we go through stages. But when I was losing, All-Bran with almond milk and some frozen blueberries, huge meal for me in the morning. I mean, it's 60 calories a serving or something ridiculous. So it was a light breakfast that didn't take away too many points. And then I would go to work armed with an arsenal of snacks. Not so much a meal. I maybe would have leftovers from the night before. If we had chili, I'd bring some chili or something like that. But I would have yogurt. I would have fruit. I would have, 100-calorie packs. I would have, I'm trying to think of some things that I used to always bring, like a banana. Sometimes I would bring nuts, but not that much. Granola bars, like those, I can't remember what they're called now. The real crispy ones in the green package. I can't remember what they're called. I just got into those again. I kind of went away and now I'm back into them. And then I would come home and I would cook dinner. And so your other half of your question is, how did I prepare meals for busy weeks? My approach is a little bit more lax than a lot of people that I know that kind of plan every meal. I go through stages with this too. Sometimes on a Sunday, I'll write on the calendar what we're going to eat every day. We'll have pizza this night, tacos, we're going to have whatever, right on the calendar. And then I know. Other times, I feel like I need to be more flexible. I kind of thrive in an environment where I have stock of things. Lots of frozen meats in portion stuff in the freezer. I'd have my pantry stocked with brown rice and whole grain noodles and all those kinds of things. And then I kind of react. And I usually plan in the morning what I'm going to make that night. And then that way I can react. Especially now, it's summertime. I may want to grill. But if I plan to grill, on Thursday when it was Sunday and then it rains Thursday, I can't grill and then it throws my whole schedule off. So I don't really like to do the weekly thing. I like to know that I have 5 to 6 meals that I can make in the freezer / pantry, wherever. And then that every morning I decide what I'm going to make. And so like yesterday, I even wrote it on Facebook. I did a little meal planning. Like yesterday we made pork chops on the grill. We had roasted broccoli on the grill. Not broccoli, cauliflower. And I did baked potatoes. And in that morning, I decided that's what I was going to make. So I pulled the pork chops out, and then they defrosted. So that works for me. Sometimes I might do it the night before and pull something out the night before. But I generally make meals. I don't think cooking takes as long as people think. That's another thing. I think when you have things defrosted and you have in your mind what you're going to make, literally grill or no grill, you take I had fresh cauliflower. You could use a bag of frozen if you don't have time to cut the cauliflower. But take the cauliflower, throw it on a roasting pan, put it in the oven on like 450 for like a half an hour. While you're doing that, spice up the pork chops, pan fry them, throw a couple potatoes in the microwave, bam, meal. 5 minutes. Well, maybe 10 minutes, something like that. It just doesn't take that long, I think, when you're prepared. I think most of the time it's our lack of preparedness that gets us into trouble. That's really where I think the key is. So Wendy, I'm sorry I didn't answer like exactly what I ate and exactly how I cooked, but I hope really more by giving examples that you kind of start to uncover a way that works for you, because I don't think the same way works for everyone. It's just not. Like I said, I have friends who they have to meal plan. They have to plan on Sunday exactly what they're going to eat throughout the week, and that backfires for me. So again, like it really comes down to kind of your situation, your family life, who you're cooking for, balancing all that stuff, what your tastes are, what you like to cook, what you know how to cook. I mean, there's so many variables that I can't really share. I don't think sharing the exactness is going to do you any service anyway. But I hope that gives you some insight and some ideas so that you can discover your own. Okay, I'm going to move on. I talked way too much on that question again. I feel like this. I'm in babble talker mode. That's another thing. When you work for yourself, a home all day, and you only have a 1-year-old to keep you company, even if you're just talking to a computer screen, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It feels good. It feels good just to talk to human beings, even though they're not talking back to me. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to move on. Next question is from Anna. Anna says, let's see, how have you dealt with the pressures of family members who are concerned about your weight? Ever since I was little, my parents, this is going to be a tearjerker for me, I'm just going to warn you now. Ever since I was little, my parents have worried about me being overweight. I'm now 27, and despite my pleading to them to please stop asking me about it, they won't stop. Just yesterday, my mom asked me what the problem is, why am I gaining so much weight, which led me to burst into tears. I know they mean well, and they insist they are worried, but if it was so easy for me to find a solution, I would have. I know I should brush it off, but it feels like none of my personal or professional accomplishments matter as much as being thinner. As always, thank you for your time. Okay, Anna, this really is a tearjerker for me, because this is exactly how I felt about my father. Like, oh gosh. I really try to talk about this without crying, but same exact thing. I felt like he never recognized, I had my master's degree at 21. I bought a house by the time I got married. I bought a house. I was so successful, but the only thing he ever commented on was my weight. And so much so, and let me tell you this, because I think this may help you put it all in perspective for you. And again, this is only my own experience, and I'm going to really try to talk about this without crying. When I did lose the weight after the birth of my first son, Ryan, on his first birthday, I was probably the thinnest I ever was. Even now, I was about 15 pounds lighter than I am right now. I was very, very thin, too thin now that I look back. But he came to the birthday party, and he actually commented that I was too thin. Now, no, mind you, in hindsight, I know what he was, I know I was, but at the same time, I realized in that moment that I can never make him happy. Oh, it's going to cry and cry. Sorry. So my whole life, I tried to almost like lose weight for him. Then I lost weight, and then I still wasn't good enough for him. Do you know what I mean? I told you this isn't going to be too hard for me. But, so my point is, even though it's hard, you do have to still work on brushing them off. And because, gosh, guys, one of these days I'll make it through a podcast without crying. Anyway, my point is that you cannot make anyone else happy. And I think if you go into weight loss for that sole purpose, for sure it always backfires because you have to do it for you. And I think, like I know you said you've tried to talk to them. I think really sitting down and having a conversation and pointing out all your other accomplishments. I don't know if you did it. Like I know for like me, it would have came out in a screaming match, which I don't think is very productive. I find writing letters that to them therapeutic. And you may never even give them the letter, although I highly suggest that you do. But writing a letter, it's kind of like how I'm communicating with you right now. It stops them from being able to interrupt you. It allows you to get all of your thoughts out without crying. Or you can pause to cry and get back to the letter. But it allows you to just brain dump everything out without distraction or interruption from them, and really express how you truly, truly, truly feel. I use this, honestly, since I was probably a teenager, I remember writing letters to my father. That was how I got everything out. Sorry. I do it with my husband when we're arguing. If we're arguing about something, I find that sometimes he gets mad at me because he's like, why can't you just talk to me? And I'm like, I can't sometimes because I get too emotional. So I write it out. So I would suggest that you write them a letter and maybe write them individually. And again, even if you don't, and I did this even on my blog, I can link to a blog where I kind of wrote a letter to my dad, an open letter. It's so therapeutic. It's just, I find it therapeutic. It's just a way for you to just get out of your head all of these things that you've been stuffing down with food, more than likely, just like me. So that's my advice. I'm going to try to wrap this up so I don't cry anymore. So just know, Anna, I know where you're coming from. And I don't think there's anything sometimes more frustrating than people that love you, and you know that they love you, missing the mark and not supporting you the way that you need to be supported. I'm gonna cry again. So write a letter. I think writing a letter would really, really help. Okay, I'm going to move on, Anna. Thanks for making me cry. Oh, I really can't talk about this stuff without getting emotional. I know it's cheesy and it's weird, but it's really, really painful for me sometimes. Okay, hopefully the next question will be a little bit more lighthearted. All right, next question is from, I don't think it is, is from Dawn. Dawn says, I have just stumbled upon your site and have found it useful. I have a question regarding it is good. I have a question regarding how to calculate points with the new Points Plus plan from Weight Watchers. The older way was simple. I figured 50 calories was about a point. Now there are no calories to consider. How do you do it in your head? I cannot just input everything I eat into a computer all day long. So I'm asking, is there an easy way to do it in your head? Thank you for your time, and you look amazing. Thanks. Congrats, Dawn. Okay, thank you, Dawn, for your compliment. Okay, I'm gonna be really, really honest with you guys. Look, my hair is all, I got a haircut and I love it, but it's all right. Sorry, I'm getting used to it. I'm always saying Points Plus. Okay, when they launched the new Points Plus program, it wasn't last year, was it? It was the year before already. I can't believe it. I was so excited for the changes, and then the more and more I got into it and learned about it and tried to apply it, I liked it less and less. And again, this is just my own personal opinion. I have no doubt that the science behind the way that they do the points is probably better, and there's probably tons and tons of reasons that make it better. But I think there's one reason, and Dawn hit the nail on the head here, where it, I guess backfired is a bad word, backfired for me, but missed the mark, and that was ease of use. Weight Watchers, I think, and why I'm so grateful for their program, because really I lost weight on the original Weight Watchers program. I don't count points anymore. I don't really follow it much anymore. But at that time, 7 years ago, old, it gave me what I needed, which is what Dawn is explaining. It gave me an easy way for me to calculate things in my head and figure out whether or not eating that was worth it or not worth it, or how to balance my day, it equipped me with tools that were really, really easy to integrate into my life. Because once you really sat down with the old Weight Watchers Flex Points or Momentum or whatever the heck they used to call or whatever, once you really looked into it and you did it for a few days, you figured it out. At least I did. And I think that's what was really helpful for me, was that I kind of figured it out, and then I was able to apply it simply, easily, without a lot of extra tools or things that I needed. Like, I always use the example of the zone. I'm sure some people probably still do. You guys know what the zone is. It's like that, what was it? Like 30, 40 percentages to carbs, fat, and something else. I can't remember anymore. Protein, that's what it was. And I remember being so excited that this was going to be like the diet plan that I finally lost weight on. And I remember reading the book, and literally, I'm not kidding, it was like a half a day where I was like, I can't do these calculations. This is just too much. It was just, now, of course, I wasn't in the right mindset back then, but I still think there was some, I don't know, with the old Weight Watchers, it was so easy for me. And I mean, I guess that was the benefit of me finding a plan that really clicked with me, and that's what the old Weight Watcher plan did. It clicked with me, where it gave me these tools that were easy to integrate that I can then apply, and I still kind of apply the concepts. Like I but anyway, I'm getting off the track. So Dawn, I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up, so sorry. So your question is how to calculate points plus the same way. I haven't yet to figure that out. I've heard a few things from a few readers where some people estimate about 70 calories now a point, which of course is not as easy to count as 50, because 50 was really easy. But there's so many more variables in it. But I think if you look at most and start to do a few tests on your own, but if you estimate about 70 calories a point, that it'll put you right around the points plus mark, I think, for most items. And again, if you remember, like the old points, this is the way my Ronnie logic was. With old points, I also estimated about 50 calories a point. But if it was higher in fiber, I would take a point away at the end. So let's say something was 300 calories. That's 6 points. And if it was like 10 or plus grams of fiber, I would go, okay, it's probably 5.5 points. If it was higher in fat, I would pad it with a point. So it would be 7 points. And honestly, 95% of the time, points were always matched up. And that's what I mean. I was like, oh, that's the secret. That's the formula. Low in calories, high in fiber, low in fat. And did I worry about protein? I mean, not really. I think you have a roundabout diet. I think I don't have, again, I'm not a dietitian, but I'm pretty sure most Americans' diets are fairly sufficient in protein. So I didn't really worry about protein, but I'm a meat eater, so I usually eat a protein with dinner. I usually have some protein with lunch. So I never really worried about it. And I think when I got down to that granular level of, am I getting X number of protein? Am I getting X number of fiber? That's when things start to backfire for me, because that's when I start to get like OCD about things, and then I just throw my hands up and go, I don't want to do this. I never want to do this. And that's what I mean by the old Weight Watchers points. It was like very kind of loose, steadfast rules that kind of framed my choices and geared me towards higher fiber, lower fat, low calorie stuff. Now, again, I know there's problems with that because people, I did not eat nuts. I didn't eat nuts on old Weight Watchers when I was losing weight because they were too costly. in points because even though they're good for you, they have higher fat. And so there are problems, which I think is what Weight Watchers is trying to fix. But I think Weight Watchers has to evaluate and find some kind of balance between the better science and the easy integrating where you're not feeling like you have to be tied to the computer to enter stuff in. And dude, get a slider. I used to love that slider. Why did they get rid of the slider? I still have my old slider. I love it. All right, anyway. Good question, Dawn. And I think a lot of people share your a question, like how do you do this in your head anymore? And I'm not sure there is a way. And I'm sure people, if you guys are following the new Weight Watchers plan, please comment in the comment section, and maybe you can give Dawn some ideas on how you manage it without kind of being tied to a calculator all day. Okay, I'm shaking. Okay, next question is from Brenda, and Brenda Lee. Brenda says, you look wonderful. Thank you. Please tell me what kind, I love these kind of questions. Please tell me what kind of popcorn you eat, what kind of salad dressing you use, and what are Clif Bars? Okay, she probably wrote this when, right around Christmas time, my husband put Clif Bars in my stocking. And they're not something that I normally buy. I don't usually buy bars. I don't buy a lot of bars. But what kind were they? They were a special kind, like Clif Builder bars, I think they were called. I have them somewhere on the site. I'll try to find where I probably use them in a Sunday post or something like that. But honestly, they were delicious. I mean, really, really good. But they were really high. I think they were like 250 calories a piece. It would be something that I would keep on hand, like possibly in the pantry. See, I don't buy them because I tend to want to eat them when you're not supposed to eat them, like for a dessert. But having them on hand, it's always great. I can grab and throw it in my purse if I'm on a run and I didn't have time to make lunch or something like that. Or like before an event, like sometimes if I'm running, like a couple weeks ago I ran in a trail run event and it wasn't until 10 in the morning, so I felt I had to eat something on the way, and that would have been a good instance. So Clif Bars they're energy bars. They're famous for being like square, I think, but these were regular bars, Clif Builder bars. So they're just another option that's out there for kind of like quick meals on the run. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of bars overall, but the Builder ones were pretty tasty, I have to say. All right, so that answers one of your 3 questions. Your other question is, what kind of popcorn do you eat? I used to buy whatever. Honestly, I buy like whatever 97% fat-free was on sale. I wasn't loyal to a particular popcorn brand. And I really tried to get on board with the 100-calorie pack one, like the smaller bags, but they were just too small, so I would end up just popping 2 bags, and then I figured that I'm not saving myself any money. So then I went back to regular size bags. But since then, I started making my own in brown baggies, which I have a video for I will link to. I used to take a garbage bag and just put popcorn kernels, just like a bag of kernels, which are way cheaper, and just roll the bag up and throw it in the microwave for like 3 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. You can hear it popping. Stop it when it's done popping, and you have microwave popcorn in a brown paper bag. I have since bought myself a small, it's right over there. I should go grab it for you, but it's a small air popper. I think it was $20 at Bed Bath & Beyond. It was like a post-Christmas sale. And now I air pop all my popcorn. I have to say, it's fun. Like just watching the popcorn pop and they come out of the little thing. And then what I do is, I found this trick where you can actually, if you get a water bottle, of like a spray bottle, you can actually spritz your popcorn with water and sprinkle salt on it, and then the water makes the popcorn, or makes it stick. But I find I actually use non-stick cooking spray, which is really weird, I know. Or if you have a Misto, like one of those like olive oil sprays, and I'll use the olive oil kind. And so in the bowl, I'll spray the popcorn just real quick with the spray and sprinkle with salt. And that's it. I know I'm adding a little bit of fat with the spray, but there's something about that just teeny bit of fat that gives you that kind of like, I don't know, gives you that greasy feeling, even though it's not really overly greasy. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's how I make my popcorn. I air pop, spray with a little quick olive oil spray, and then sprinkle with some, I don't use the kosher salt because it's too thick. I use like a regular traditional like table salt because it's small. Sometimes I have those flavorings, but I ran out of my favorite one. It's like, I can't remember the brand name. I think it was a Jolly Time brand or something, something like that. Okay, and then your third question, salad dressings. I don't normally use salad dressings. At home. I usually make my own. So, and I take it on as a challenge. And sometimes I've gotten myself in trouble because I would want to just like grab salad dressing out of the fridge and just pour it on, and because I'm in a hurry. But see, I think that's kind of why I like to challenge myself. So I whip up a lot of salad dressings. If I'm in the creamy mode, I'll go with fat-free yogurt, and I'll whisk it in with a little bit of like apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, some spices, a little bit of honey to kind of offset that yogurt tartness. Just whip it up. I just did a new dressing recipe on Greenlight Bites where I did fat-free yogurt, lime juice, and mint. Oh, that was really good. It was like refreshing. And it was creamy. And so you get this creamy mouthfeel because of the yogurt. If I want a lighter dressing, I'll usually do just a little bit of olive oil and then whatever vinegar I want, like balsamic or whatever, and I'll whisk it together with whatever spices I have or like minced garlic or something like that. And then there is one dressing right now that I became obsessed with over the holidays. And it's a light dressing, and it's by Ken's. I should go grab it. It's I think it's walnut, raspberry walnut vinaigrette, light option it's called. I'll see if I can find it online and link it underneath the video. And the reason why I fell in love with it was because a specific salad that I made on Greenlight Bites, where I used like lots of greens and Gouda cheese and walnuts and dried cranberries. It's kind of like a salad that I serve at Thanksgiving now. It's a tradition now. I serve the salad at Thanksgiving. And then I eat it I literally eat this salad. I could eat it every day between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's like now I've programmed my brain to want this salad in the wintertime, which is good because I don't usually want salads in the winter. But I love, love, love that dressing, and I can't duplicate that dressing. Like, it's just too good. And it's very light. I mean, it's a traditional light dressing. But it's a vinaigrette base, raspberry vinaigrette base. And it's got like walnuts in it or something, but it's very, very good. All right, Brenda, I hope that helps a little bit. Air Pop popcorn, mostly my own dressings, and Clif bars are energy bars. That was a really easy question I could have answered that I babbled on forever. Okay, next question is from Pam. I have no idea what she's asking. I can't remember. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, Pam says, Ronnie, I really just want to say, wow, what an inspiration you are. Thank you, Pam. I know you probably hear this a lot, but I need to say it again. I, like many, am on my own weight loss journey. It's hard. I've started and stopped so many times. I've even given up, period. Sorry. Yesterday, I made yet another commitment. I want this, but it seems impossible, and I'm not just motivated. I like to eat. I hate to work out. I'm more than overweight. I'm obese, and it sucks. I have 2 kids and a husband. I want to be healthy for them and for myself. I'm currently weighing in at 320 pounds. I don't tell anyone that, but I figured you were safe. Anyway, you look amazing, and I'm going to take some time to read more about your journey in hopes that something in there will help me on mine. Oh, Pam. And that's why I do it. I really do hope that I can, I don't know, I think I've said this before, like sometimes, and I felt this way, I really, really felt this way when I first lost the weight. Like literally I wanted to like go to the highest mountain and scream, oh my God, it's possible. Like seriously, I cannot believe it. I actually did it. Like when your whole life, all you ever want to do is get out of that cycle of yo-yo dieting and just lose the weight. And I don't mean lose the weight to hit some crazy ideal body or something like that, because honestly, even at my thinnest, I still did not look like a Victoria's Secret model. I just didn't, but when you stop reaching for that and you start just to tackle kind of the problems that you've invented, a lot of them I think we've invented them ourselves, or we were influenced by people or whatever, and you finally kind of break out of this cycle that we're in, and you nailed it, Pam. I did the same thing. You're either on or you're off. You recommit every day or every couple of weeks or every month or every year. You're going to do it. This is going to be the time. And then something happens and then you're eating everything in sight and then you're in the cycle again. And then it's so infuriating, yet you want it so badly and you can't figure out why you just can't do it. Seriously, I can't describe to you how it's so easy for me to put myself back in that place. And it's funny because there's small remnants still to this day. Like last night, honestly, I ate good all day. And I don't mean that I was trying to diet and hit some things. I mean, like, I've been really trying to eat clean because I'm training for this event. And I'm really noticing now that my body, after the last couple of years, is really, really used to eating very, very good foods. Like, just lots of fruits and vegetables and lean meats and those kinds of things that, like, a couple weeks ago I ate at McDonald's. And normally I get a Southwest grilled salad. So we go a lot. I mean, we don't go as much as we used to. We probably go now maybe once a month, which we used to go probably weekly to McDonald's. But I would get the Southwest grilled salad and boom, it would be not a big deal. And I would have a couple of fries from the husband's plate and then I would feel satisfied and I didn't think I blew anything. But for some reason, a few weeks ago, I decided I was going to get those McChicken bites, those new like chicken tendery things that they have. I was like, I just was in the mood for something fried that I can dip in honey mustard. Right? I felt horrible after that meal. And then I even said to my husband, I'm like, I can't believe how crappy I feel right now. Like, wow, I can't believe I used to feel like this all the time. Like, and not even realize it. Like, this is just how I felt. Like, because there was no other way to feel because I just ate like that all the time. So again, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for, wanting a chicken nugget. I wanted the chicken nuggets. I ate the chicken nuggets. It wasn't that big of a deal. But after doing this now for 7 years, I have this like level of consciousness where I'm really, really more in tune with my body where I was like, holy crap, I just like put yucky stuff in me. And my body's kind of like, why did you eat that? That's not cool. We don't like it. Like it's, so anyway, I don't remember why I was telling that story. It's now what the heck was I talking about? Let me read back. I'm sorry, I have to read back Pam's question. Okay, so I forget where I was going with that, but for some reason that story popped into my head. So Pam, okay, I really do understand where you're coming from. And the thing that you said, you said, and I'm just not motivated. I like to eat and I hate to work out. That's exactly. I'm probably pretty sure I said those same that line, those two lines, 7 years ago. I have no doubt. And that's when I decided, and it was a decision, and sometimes I think we don't take ownership of things that we decide. I decided that if I'm going to lose weight, and I did use the word if, that I need to do it on my terms. Meaning, I don't want to have to go to a gym anymore, or ever back then. Now, I'm a little bit of a crazy fitness nut. But when I was losing the weight, I didn't want to have to go to the gym because the mindset I had then was, A, I didn't like working out. B, it was like punishment, and I hated every second of it. Why would I sign up to do something that I did not like to do? Why would I do that? And that was the mindset I was really getting into. I was like, I need to lose weight on my terms because trying to lose weight on everyone else's terms is failing for me. Everyone's telling you you have to eat this way and you have to work out and you have to. No, that's not going to work for me. And I don't mean you have to be realistic. Like something has to give. But for me, I do not want to have to go to a gym. And I also like to eat. I still like to eat. I really like to eat. So what I did was channel that like to eat. And really, Greenlight Bites is the child of this. I started to get more creative. If I like to eat and I like to cook, I don't know if you like to cook. So that combination was, okay, if I like to eat, then let's really spend some time on coming up with lighter menu items. Or how can I change this recipe so it fits into my plan? It's 10 o'clock at night and I want to eat something. I'm going to eat something. But I'm not going to just go to the pantry and grab a bag of Doritos and eat the whole bag. No, I am going to look in my fridge, look at the fruit I have. Let's see if I can come up with something creative. Maybe I think I'm just pulling from my own history. The one day I made little mini apple pies out of wonton wrappers, and apples, and a little bit of honey and cinnamon. It took me probably about 20 minutes to make them. It was late at night, I remember that. So let's say it was 10 o'clock. I remember because my pictures are horrible because I had no light. But I had fun, and I ate something. And so I don't know if I ever can express this the way that I went. It was, I channeled my love of food to prepare things that were better for me by still appeasing that, that desire to eat. Sometimes when I wasn't really hungry when I made those little mini apple pies. I just wanted to eat. And again, I saved myself all those calories. I kind of had this little bit of creative outlet where I got to make the apple pies, and then I got to eat them. And so there was there's something different. And for me, that was the my terms thing. So I feel like I'm babbling about this, but I'm hoping it makes sense for somebody, especially you, Pam, is that you have to channel, you have to know yourself, which you do know. And then you have to build a plan that fits into those constraints. Because I'm sure you know what needs to be done. You need to lower your calories. You need to move a little bit more. So you don't like to work out, then you need to commit to doing something. You have 2 kids. Can you get outside every day with them and run around the backyard? Can you take them to the park? Can you go walking? Can you go on little hikes? Can you take them roller skating? I don't know. I'm just like coming up with things. But do you see what I mean? Make movement not about working out. Make it just an active time that you're going to have, and you're going to move more. And these are the things that I talk about in that whole like healthy 3 Steps to Healthier You series I did like years and years ago. That really for me there was 3 big keys. There was an acceptance of self, right? There was just this. I looked in the mirror and this is what I am. Back then I was 210ish pounds, and I'm like, okay, this is me. This is me. This is me right now. There's nothing wrong with me right now. But I want to be healthier. I want to do something different. I want to wear different clothes. I want to feel better in my skin. So there was this acceptance with change. I don't know how to capture that. This is actually one of the topics that we're going to talk about in Fit Blogging this year. That there's some kind of balance there where I accepted myself, yet I gave myself permission to want to change. Does that make sense? Anyway, that was one bucket. The second bucket was food, right? So I call it stateless dieting, but this concept of starting now, wherever you are, there is no more off-plan, on-plan, or there's no more, you can't break your diet. You're not either in one of 2 states of losing and gaining. Every decision you make right now and what you're eating counts. So if you want a cookie, have a cookie. It's not a big deal. Don't make it a big deal. Don't make it ruining your diet and then giving yourself, you use that cookie to give yourself permission then to just eat whatever you want. It's kind of like the gateway cookie, or whatever it is. It could be pizza for you. It could be cupcakes. It could be ice cream. It could be whatever. But it's like you fight yourself that you don't want it, and you give it up for so long because you think you have to lose the weight, that then when you eat it, it's literally this gateway that opens up, and now you're just shoving food in your mouth, right? So again, I'm talking more about myself than anyone else, right? So just accept the fact that if there's something that happens, there's a moment of clarity, and I don't know, again, if I can articulate it, but when you realize this, when you start to have this aha moment of, I can eat that cookie and it's not that big of a deal and it doesn't control you anymore, then you all of a sudden don't want the cookie. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I blogged about this just a couple weeks ago. The husband came home with donuts on a Sunday. I could have eaten one of those donuts. I didn't want the donut because I didn't feel like eating the donut. There was a time where I would have ate it just because he bought it for me, just because it was there, just because it looked good, just because it was chocolate, just because. When you realize that when you want the donut, when you really want it, then you can have it. Then the times when you don't really want it, you don't feel the need to eat it. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's a slightly different twist on what I'm trying to say. But my point is that every decision you make with food make it conscious. Don't just eat because things are there. Don't just eat because you're tired. Don't just eat because you're sad. Make a conscious decision and channel. So sometimes there are times where you just want to eat and you don't know why. Okay, work with it instead of fighting it. I've used this example many times. I have been known to keep butternut squash on the counter, and then when I'm really in, this happens maybe once a month, but when I'm really in that really munchy mode where I just want to shove food in my face, a lot of times I pop popcorn. That's usually my answer because it lasts a long time and I can eat it while I'm watching TV, and it kind of cures that need just to put something in my mouth. But make yourself something. Get creative. See if you can do something with fruit, like the mini apple pie idea. See if you can, where it's going with the butternut squash fries. Like I would make butternut squash fries. Do you know how filling a butternut squash is? And do you know how light it is comparative to something you could pull out of your pantry? I mean, butternut squash, right? And I would only use the top part and then save the other thing for a meal. But still, it's a lot of physical food in your belly. And sometimes, if you're anything like me, you have a need to almost feel full. Like sometimes I have this need to want to feel full. And so I go with that volumetrics concept where I eat bulky things that don't cost me a lot of calories. So sometimes you have to work with your hunger. Okay, so that's enough about food. I can talk about that stuff all day. The first was like body image or your whole acceptance of self, even though you want to change. You have to accept yourself, right? The second was food. And just no more dieting and own the decisions, right? The third is moving more, and not in the sense of I have to go to the gym and take this step class, or I have to go and lift weights, or I have to go. If you don't want to do any of that stuff, or that's not where you are right now, then meet yourself where you are. Maybe it's just an after dinner walk. Literally, I am now training for some crazy Tough Mudder. Did you see this? Okay, it's 10 miles of running with 16 obstacles, cold water, walls to climb, rope things, tires, tunnels that I gotta dig through. For some reason, this is attractive to me, and I don't know why I want to do it. Now, I can tell you without a doubt, 10 years ago, there was no way in hell I would even sign up for anything like that. Look, right here. Where is it? Right there. Do you see that picture right there? That's me crossing the finish line of a marathon. I'm going to cry talking about this. Again, 10 years ago, if you would have told me I would have run a marathon, I would have told you were freaking nuts. I hated running with a passion. There was no way anyone can get me to run. I used to laugh at people. I have friends that would run on vacation, and I would go, "What's wrong with you? Why would you ever run on vacation? You're on vacation. You should be sitting on a pool with a margarita in your hand." And now I'm one of those crazy people. I'm not saying you need to want to become one of those crazy people like us. What I'm saying is you'll be surprised at where you start and where you end up. And when you start to move more, like I started just walking after dinner, just walking with the husband. I got the husband to walk with me all the time. And we had the baby, who's now 7, almost 7. And I would strap him on my little hip hammock, and we would just walk and talk. I can't believe this is making me emotional either. But that's how I started. And then all of a sudden, we would go hiking sometimes. We would just do active-y things. I started taking the stairs and walking around the mall when it was raining out and doing I just started doing things. And then I joined a gym, and then I started to really enjoy classes because I got to meet other people, and step class was kind of fun. And then, it's like snowballs. It snowballs. So meet yourself where you are. I could guarantee you're not going to end up where I am. You're going to end up where you're supposed to be. But it has to start by just simply committing to moving more. And again, like the food thing, it has to be a conscious thing where you're like, there's the elevator, where's the stairwell? Or look at all those people sharking around looking for a close spot. I'm going to go park in the parking lot across the street and walk. Or I only need a few things at the grocery store. I don't need to use a cart. I don't push the cart. I can carry the basket. Yes, even if I'm going to get milk. Right? So the point is, conscious things where you start to engage your body more and move more it's really powerful. I think it's really powerful. Okay, I'm going to move on. Look at that. 15 minutes and I only answered 5 questions. All right. I might only do one more because I am in this talkative mood, and I could keep going, and the baby's going to wake up from nap soon, and I'm going to have nothing done except this podcast, which is a good thing. I would have this podcast done. Okay, let's see if I can answer a few more really quick. All right, Judy. Judy says, someone gave me a Vitamuffin fudgy peanut butter chip snack today. It looks too good to be true. The third ingredient is sugar. Is it a good choice for lunch along with a cup of homemade vegetable soup? Okay, so Judy, as you know, I do work with Vita Muffins, Vitalicious. I'm a huge fan of their products. It's something that I discovered a long time ago, and then they reached out to me, and I've been really working with them ever since. I do reviews when they have new products. They sponsor my newsletter. I host recipe contests for them on Greenlight Bites. It's just, I really do like their products. I'm not so sure I would recommend their product for lunch. It's more, for me, a nice alternative when you want a dessert and you kind of want like a chocolatey bite at the end of dinner. Now they have these little Vita cakes, which are only 50 calories, which are really, really good. So, you're right. The third ingredient is sugar, which, again, for a treat, you'd be expected that's going to be sugar. But for lunch, I would really rather pair your vegetable soup with maybe a half a sandwich or a salad. If you're looking for something packaged, I just make up my own words. I'm trying to think of something that would be a good option. See, I would save the Vita muffin for the dessert later in like an afternoon snack, and maybe some whole wheat crackers or a half a sandwich or a salad with the soup. That's just me. But I don't think it's not a bad choice. I think, but for a meal, it doesn't make sense for me as a meal. I think it makes more sense as a dessert. But it is only 100 calories. I think all of them are 100 calories only, which makes it really good. Fudgy peanut butter is one of my favorites. Along with, they have a dark chocolate pomegranate. It's really good. Actually, I need some. I'm running out. They have pumpkin too, which I have 2 pumpkins left in the freezer. That's all I have left. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can answer this one quicker, even though it's one that I can continue on. But I've already touched on this, which is why I'm gonna go. All right, next one is Amanda. Amanda says, "I see that you are a runner. I love running. I feel so free." Why do I feel like a talk show host right there? I love running. I feel so free when I run. I was wanting to know if you could tell me how you became a runner. I can only run for like a minute without stopping. Help. Okay, Amanda. So I just gave a little bit of my little workout history. The way I became a runner, which is still weird for me to say, but I started running because I had a friend that I used to work out with at the Y when I first started working out. And she challenged me to do a 5K. And I told her she was crazy. I have these posts, by the way, where you could, I'm pretty sure I have a post where I mention this and I tell the blog that I told her that she's crazy because I can't run. And then I set the treadmill to 5K and I walked, and I finished 5K on the treadmill. And I was so ecstatic that I could not believe that I actually did it. Like, I thought, there's no way I can ever run 3 miles. It's not possible. Now, I did walk. Then I actually did the event, the actual 5K event, and I ran most of it. I had to take 3 or 4 walk breaks in the middle. And I think I did it in like 34 minutes or something like that. And at that moment, I probably became a runner. And I don't mean it as a sense of like, oh, I can now run a 10-minute mile or do whatever. I meant it from the point of, wow, this is going to make me emotional too. This is something I really, really like to do. The energy at a running event is so contagious to me. I know other people that don't really like them, but for me, there's just this support and the people and everybody has the same goal and gosh, it's just so awesome. So anyway, I think I became a runner, honestly, when I first ran my first ever 5K event. That being said, when I started to run outside, and I think I'm assuming that's what you're running, if you can only run like a minute without stopping, you're running too fast. I did the same thing, and I thought when I first started, how can anybody do this more than whatever? Slow your pace down. Running, we use the word running, but really what you're doing is kind of finding a trot that, you can maintain without getting out of breath. And it's going to take you a while to figure it out. Like, you have to kind of know your own body, and it changes, of course. Like, my pace is way different now than it was even 3 months ago, and it depends on how much I'm running, or how long I'm going to go, or if I'm only running a mile, I run it much faster than if I'm planning 5 miles, because I have to slow myself down. So it's a variable thing that only you can figure out for your own body. So slow down. You can't, this sounds weird to say, but you can't run too slow. If you're running, and you know what I mean? I mean that kind of trot, jogger pace. You're running. Don't sell yourself short. That's running. You don't have to sprint to be considered a runner. So slow your pace down and see if you can maintain it longer. And it may be that you can only run it for 2 minutes, and then maybe take a 30-second walk break and then run it again. And so if you're truly building your running stamina from scratch, that's another way to do it, is kind of alternate run walking, alternate run walking. And what you'll find, it's really unbelievable, and this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with it, you really gain running stamina fast if you stick with it. And I'm still shocked at how, first of all, the distances just blow my mind. I remember when I was working towards the marathon, and I ran my first 5 miles and 7 miles and 10 miles and a half marathon, and I thought, I didn't think that was possible. But for some, I don't know how it happens. You're just able to, you just do it. So there's that aspect. There's the distance aspect, but then there's also the speed aspect, where you'll naturally start to get faster and not even realize it. I went from an 11-minute mile. When I'm at my best, I'm a 9.5-minute mile. I know it's some other bloggers that I follow who are 7.5-minute miles, and I look at them, I'm like, they're crazy. There's no way. But if I ran as much as they did, I'd probably be getting into that speed too. So just keep doing it. Slow your pace down, and don't worry about winning. You're just running a run. Have fun with it. And slow down. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to go. I can keep answering. We should do these live or something. It would be more fun. All right, so I have 2 more that I'll wait until April and move them to that time, because I really don't want to go over 60 minutes. I don't even know if my recorder can handle it, because I'm already probably out of sync with my audio. That's what happens when I do long records. But anyway, thanks for listening to me babble this month and cry with me. Hopefully you're crying with me and not laughing at me. Hopefully. I will be back in April with another podcast. And until then, I will be blogging. Thanks for listening, guys, if you made it this far into my 60-minute of madness. Bye.